The last few weeks, a lot of you asked me questions about salt. I then linked to my video which I made about the topic many years ago. It's only 5 minutes long, but it sums it up well. Some of you also mentioned this guy called Darko Welchek. Today's video will be about him. I wasn't planning on making this video at all, probably ever. And that's because he also promotes eating raw meat. There's very few people who do, and right now I can only think of him and I. Ajna's Wonder Planet's obviously also used around anymore. Rest in peace. His information will live on. Liver King also partly did, but he more so ruined the image of raw meat, obviously. He was more of a laughing stock. And then Paul Selvin also promotes eating some raw liver, but there's somebody else who actually promotes only eating raw foods. He also doesn't, actually. I didn't know about that up until recently. I had heard about him many years ago, but I didn't know what exactly he promotes. I didn't want to start some raw beef between raw meat eaters. Now that I found out what he actually promotes, I feel obliged to make this video. It's so irresponsible and dangerous. It's really beyond words. You're going to see what I mean. We are going to firstly look at one of his latest videos, and then we'll get into the details. SHP stands for Self-Healing Protocol, as far as I know.
Hello, my friends, esteemed colleagues, family.
The first thing that I notice is obviously how unhealthy he looks. His skin is completely dry, dehydrated.
There may be a couple reasons for that. Not sure if Sverge is aware, but people get old. And when you get old, yes, your skin gets wrinkly. Also, if you're eating nothing but meat, you will indeed become dehydrated.
Even if you would be 150 years old, your skin shouldn't look like this. He's around 70, but I've seen people who are over 100 years old who don't have this kind of a skin.
Well, you made one.
Is the thing working? No, it's not working. Please show me one person over 100 years old who looks younger than this guy. I'd love to see it. Please show me one.
You can't see it right now, but if you look later, the skin right here is completely dry. I've never actually seen that on a human being before. And once you will understand what he promotes, which is drinking salt water, you're going to understand exactly what's going on. I'm going to explain to you what it does to the body
Don't listen.
Biochemically. And what I also notice is that all of the collagen is gone. It's incredibly dark here. It reminds me of all the raw vegans in my videos. The eyes are completely sinking into the skull. It's also abnormal. That shouldn't happen at any age. It's really crazy. Let me show you what I mean. He right away reminded me of this guy, also very similar eyes and everything. He really looks like a starved raw vegan fruitarian, even though he eats raw meat. And that's what salt does to you, whatever you eat. And this guy also, incredibly similar. He really looks very similar to this guy also.
It's amazing. Also, only eating meat means you lack vitamin C, which will cause a significant decrease in skin quality. Also, all the other vitamins and antioxidants only plants have make a huge difference.
Yeah. That is certainly true. But, I don't know why people have, like, this weird cultish mentality when it comes to things. Like, what is the reason that they're motivated to only eat meat? Like why? Just eat some plants. Like, clearly, some amount of plants are beneficial. You know, 0 is less than ideal. You may have the opinion that if you eat too much, like, it's a problem, but I mean, there's somewhere between 0 and too much that, you know, you should probably eat some. I don't know why they're so retarded about shit like that. Thanks for the donation, Anonymous. What is Sverge's fucking problem, by the way? Like, these all look like normal people. And then he's like, yes, you can tell just by looking at their face that this person who's twice my age And I'm probably going to look like that when I'm their age. That they're very unhealthy due to the vegan diet because they look their age. Like, they look like fit, normal fucking people.
So, as far as his body weight goes, skin condition and everything, this guy ended up dying. I'm afraid that he'll end up having organ failure from the salt water, and people are going to blame it on raw meat. Then again, almost knows about him, so...
No idea. When I eat fruits and vegetables in moderate amounts, I always feel noticeably better than when I have none.
Yeah, what a surprise. It's almost as if, like, fiber and antioxidants and shit are good for you. Really fucking weird, man. Who'd have figured if you eat healthy food, you feel better? Thanks for the donation, Anonymous.
I guess it doesn't really matter. Still, though.
Hello, my friends, esteemed colleagues, family. I have been asked many times how to safely start the self-healers protocol. Well, what is the self-healers protocol?
As you can also notice, he talks very slowly. It's really hard for him to form sentences. Obviously, once you understand what salt does...
This guy clearly is not a native English speaker. Like, Sverige is surprised that somebody whose first language isn't English is kind of having to slow down and consider their words. Like, if I tried to speak French or Italian or something, like, yeah, I'm not gonna speak as quick as a native Italian speaker. Like, they all go, like, anytime you listen to a foreign language, it sounds like they're going a mile a minute. But yeah, if you try to, you can't speak that way if you don't speak the language natively. You have to slow down because it just takes you longer to think about, all the words. Why is Sverige just such a fucking jackass? Like, any little thing.
Could we react to this?
Or, sorry, young nigga.
Svaria talking shit about somebody talking slowly and being incoherent is rich.
Yeah, really. By the way, Sverige has gone through extensive mental assessments because he committed a mass stabbing at his high school. So he had a comprehensive psychoanalysis and cognitive test done. They found that he is well below average intelligence. The report was never published, but he's like basically borderline retarded. He is so stupid. He is considered incapable of holding a normal job. So he was living in Germany at the time because he was deemed mentally retarded. The German government was just giving him money so he wouldn't have to work because he's considered to be mentally disabled. And he's also like severely mentally ill. He suffers from psychosis. He probably has or at least at the time, he had like schizophrenia or something. So, yeah, the guy who's literally gone through comprehensive mental health examinations, they deemed him retarded and insane, unfit for work, and was receiving money from the government, is calling somebody slow and stupid. Thanks for the donation, though, Anonymous. Dodo donated $2. He is just jealous that the old guy he is talking about has lived to nearly 100 years old, while he himself will not be lucky to live that long. Yeah, I can't see Sverige living to old age. He's probably going to end up in jail at some point. Because again, he can't travel anywhere. I think right now he's living in Kazakhstan. I'm pretty sure. Does Kazakhstan have an extradition treaty? Kazakhstan, extradition treaty, Netherlands. Apparently they do. Yeah, if he's ever locked up in Kazakhstan, they're probably just going to extradite him to the Netherlands or Germany. He has an arrest warrant out in all of Europe. So once he does something fucked up and crazy in Kazakhstan, guarantee you this guy is going to like try to kill his own child or his girlfriend or something. Something's going to happen where he has some like crazy mental freak out, and then the police are going to arrest him. Then they're going to find out he has an arrest warrant out in Germany, Netherlands, and then they're going to extradite him, and then he's just going to spend the rest of his life in prison. And he's probably not going to live too long.
Where is the goal? No surprise. He eats rotten meat from a jar that sat in the sun for months on end. No psychologist required to come to that conclusion.
Yeah, really. This was before the whole raw meat thing, though, when he was still in high school. So, yeah, even before everyone found out he was an actual retard. Thanks for the donation, Anonymous.
Does to the brain. It's no surprise, we're going to talk about that.
It is allowing body to heal itself without our intervention. Self-healing. And our bodies are perfectly designed to do that too.
He's actually right about that. You don't need anything external except for food, obviously. But no powders, creams, whatever people want to sell you today. The body always heals itself, yeah.
Maintain themselves healthy. If we make error, body will cleanse itself and reestablish the healthy state. It's all about vibration. Every cell is designed to vibrate in a certain way.
And this is where, of course, we will completely disagree, because I'm not religious whatsoever. He believes in vibrations and energy, whereas I'm completely all about biology, biochemistry, because this is what helped me understand everything about human health.
Yeah, you say that, but you are an actual fucking retard. So I don't know how this guy can understand anything about biology and biochemistry when this dude is a high school dropout and he's literally a retard. And he was deemed mentally disabled by the German government and had been living on government assistance for years. So I'm not going to take your word on that.
That's also what Alchemist Wonder Planets was all about.
And the vibration identifies it. So it's what is happening with the cell is happening with the tissue, with the organ, with the body as such. Overall, it's like an orchestra. You can have a single instrument, you can have few instruments together, creating a tissue. You can have a bunch of same instruments creating organ, and different groups of instruments creating orchestra.
Also, as you can hear, a lot of the talk is just gibberish. People don't even understand what he's talking about most of the time, seeing as it's just a lot of spiritual vibration ideas, again, very similar to the raw vegans and fruitarians.
Yeah, tell us about how you put rotten meat in a jar and you eat disgusting milk.
Because once you starve yourself, or in this case more so damage the organs, especially the brain, not a lot of stuff that makes sense is going to come out of your mouth.
The body is orchestra. It's a robotic orchestra. Runs on
robotic orchestra, yeah. And nobody knows what he's talking about most of the time in most of the videos.
Electricity through vibration. Now, as it is designed a certain way, it is designed with certain vibration. When the vibration is maintained, we are healthy, we are happy, everything is fine. The problem is when the vibration shifts, because again, we are running on programs. And everything that we experience in our reality is nothing else than interpretation of the vibration through our sensory program.
Okay, yeah, I think you get what's going on here. Really, I wouldn't even need to comment on any of this. It's self-explanatory.
We can think of, let's say, coffee. Try to recall first time you tried coffee.
I've never tried it in my life. Thankfully, I've only smelled it. It smells poisonous, so I never tried it.
It's disgusting. Disgusting. You cannot even drink it. Now, bitter awful taste.
Yeah, that's why you add sugar and cream. There's also go drink water from the river downstream from a metropolis because we are in Nather spherage accent and it healthy spherage accent dies 24 hours later from cholera and dysentery. I think he has like a weird idea that viruses and bacteria are generally good for you. That's why he eats like rotten meat from a jar. He doesn't really he doesn't really believe in germ theory. I don't know exactly what his view is, but I remember him talking about he was talking about this, and there's like natural and unnatural viruses and bacteria, and like natural viruses and bacteria don't harm you. So if you find like cholera or something in nature, it's not going to harm you, but for some reason, if you get it in an unnatural setting, it's bad. He's never really explained any of this well, and it's just nonsense to begin with. But yeah, he's just a retard. Thanks for the donation, Anonymous.
What's up, Rich? I bet he doesn't wash his hands after taking a shit because he wants germs.
Spherage seems like the kind of person who wouldn't wash his hands after going to the bathroom, so it wouldn't surprise me. Thanks for the donation, Anonymous.
Then why do so many
that your body does not like it? Yeah, but we want to imitate others. Oh, everybody grown-ups drink coffee, so I'm getting grown-up, I can do it now.
He's right about that.
And then you go, that's sugar.
Yeah, that's what I always say, sugar and milk, yeah.
Okay? Same is with beer, same is with wine, same is with alcohol of any kind. And what happens? Since you keep providing this stuff, your body starts genetically adjusting to this.
He is partly right about this. However, it's really close to hypocritical almost for him to talk about this. It for sure doesn't make any sense because he promotes drinking water with salt, or actual sea water, which is more disgusting than any coffee, any alcohol on Earth.
Salt water from the ocean is horrific. It is so bad. I don't really like swimming in the ocean that much because the salt water is just so fucking nasty.
Imagine the worst, black coffee or whatever, nothing tastes as horrible as salt water. So he's saying basically your senses tell you not to drink that garbage, which I always also talk about, but then he promotes something which your senses completely reject. Actually, let's go to some videos. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to blur this for YouTube because I don't want to show it. Maybe I will link it in the description. You can check it out yourself. But basically, it's just people drinking salt with water, which is what he promotes. So he has to spit it out right away because it's so disgusting. Okay, so you get it. Let's check out more.
Right, this one, yeah. You can't spit it out as well. You can't spit it out. You can't spit it out.
He had to learn.
Willicott Tully it is.
And that was just a little bit of salt and water.
Did you drink? You drink it? Yeah, all screw you.
Alright, there's lots of videos like that. Point being, he talks people into doing something that they hate, which completely goes against their senses. And then he talks about not drinking coffee and alcohol, which is better for you than salt water because of how insanely toxic it is. Also, in reference to what I was saying before, there's a lot of comments on his videos saying that he looks unhealthy. You should only listen to somebody who looks healthy when it comes to health. It's just how it is, because it means that what they are doing is good. And if somebody looks unhealthy, then it's bad for them. And what they promote is also bad for you. Then automatically, yeah, at least a lot of people notice it. That's good.
So it can tolerate it because it's a poison. And once when it's adjusted, it stops bothering you. And now since you are adjusted in this way, you kind of feel bad when it's not coming because you have programmed yourself for this particular frequency.
Yeah, but again, it's not a frequency. You're addicted to the adrenaline, for example. It's purely biochemistry. But again, he's not into biochemistry at all. He's into spirituality, essentially, vibrations. So you're addicted to the vibration, basically, even though there's a very easy scientific explanation behind it.
And the body is going to try to eliminate these frequencies out. It eliminates them from the blood through blood cleansing organs. And when we are low on blood plasma, what is urine? Blood plasma. With less minerals.
Urine is not plasma.
But it cannot hold them. So when you try urine, it's salty. You are losing plasma all the
Why
time.
does Sundus look like a Chinese?
Urinating, defecating, sweat, and crying, you have to replenish it. And we are being incorrectly guided because, again, remember that our knowledge comes through rocks, through their population.
So this is very interesting. He says that our knowledge, information, the whole educational system comes from the Rockefellers, all of these families. But then at the same time,
is he bleeping out the word Jews or Illuminati or something? I think he said the Rothschilds at one point.
salt is in pretty much every food you can buy at the supermarket, over 90%. And if you go and eat at a restaurant, really you can't even find a meal without
You
salt.
will never get another.
Except if it's some kind of sweet ice cream. But any sauce you will buy, any fast food, really just most of the stuff you will buy, it will always have salt inside. Oftentimes also because it's used as a preservative. Salt is so toxic that it kills every living organism, every cell of every animal, and it's considered to be anti-bacterial, as in it's an antibiotic. That's why you destroy your gut microbiome when you eat salt also. And that's why it used to be...
Your body needs salt. When it gets too much salt, yes, it's harmful, but your body needs salt. If you didn't consume any sodium, you'd end up having brain swelling and die.
Be put around meat, because then you could preserve the meat for winter, for example, because nothing that's alive can get through it because it kills off everything on the outside. So when you ingest salt, obviously it just kills off what's inside of your body, the microbes and your own human cells, animal cells. It's the same thing. It should be clearly understood why salt is used as a preservative. It's because it kills. It's because it's an antibiotic. Otherwise, I don't think the people understand what it actually does to the body when you ingest it. He would probably argue that they only had the so-called table.
Well, salt is an effective preservative for a couple reasons. So, yes, it can contribute to like apoptosis of certain bacteria. But it also dehydrates. It sucks out water. So if it dehydrates something, then that can help prevent, again, bacteria from flourishing in something. Dodo.
Barrier is retard. No salt her heart stops pumping /https://n.
Well, yeah. If you don't have any sodium, usually what happens is you die from brain swelling. Because of the sodium-potassium pump, yeah, your heart can randomly stop beating. But usually what happens is you die from brain swelling. This is pretty common in severe alcoholics. They're pretty much the only group of people who ever have this problem where they have a zero sodium diet. So there are people who are so severely addicted to alcohol that they'll literally just live off of beer, and beer has zero sodium in it. So they'll just drink beer for like a month or two straight and take zero sodium, and usually they die from their brain swelling, not from, their heart just giving out. Thanks for the donation, though, Anonymous. Son Goku donated $2.
Salt, sodium, chloride to these foods, and that there's a difference between them. There is a difference. There's more toxic heavy metals in some more than others, but they all have them. They are toxic also for that reason. That's a different story. I'm not going to talk about that. In Himalayan salt, for example, there's crazy amounts of toxic heavy metals, because you got to understand that there is no salt in nature. These crystallized rocks, and supposedly Himalayan salt comes from these rocks mixing with lava. That's why it has that color. Whatever the case, it's toxic anyway. If you understand the origin, maybe some people may not consume it. That's a good thing to learn about it. But my point is simply that in nature as such, there is no salt anywhere. And then if some places dry up, it can create these crystallized rocks. And that's what we consume today. And for sure, some of it is worse than other rocks, but it's all just crystallized rocks anyway, which don't exist in nature and which we shouldn't be consuming anyway. If his point is that the educational system is controlled, which I agree with, obviously, then why would they push salt so incredibly much? There is no difference between sea salt, whatever, Celtic, Himalayan, think of anything you want. At the end of the day, it's just these crystallized rocks. and it's mostly sodium and chloride in crazy amounts. And then you can argue that some have some trace amounts of other minerals. Irrelevant. It's really micro amounts of what you need. Totally irrelevant.
So again, what do you think they teach us doctors to do when sick people that vibrate incorrectly, come seeking help? Well, we are guided to them further, not to heal them, because no doctor knows how the body really works. No doctor knows origin of any chronic disease.
Is it okay to do the keto diet temporarily for rapid weight loss? You can do whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit what diet you follow to lose weight. I don't know what you mean by okay, as long as you're not killing and eating animals. I don't care. If you're going to go on a keto diet to lose weight rapidly, I don't know why you choose the keto diet specifically. You're going to have worse body composition and have a harder time losing weight if you're on a keto diet versus doing like a protein sparing fast.
Because we have been misguided through biochemistry.
You see what I mean? We are misguided through biochemistry. Yeah, that's really his mindset. As I said, I learned everything through biochemistry. It was very important. Of course, not naturally, it didn't explain the meaning of my life or anything, but
I wonder how Christine...
as far as nutrition goes, being able to explain to other people and understanding what happens in the body, it was the key to it all. Same with Algenist Wonder Planets. He worked in a laboratory with experts for over 20 years analyzing what exactly happens in the body. This was all biochemistry, and also when it comes to salt, which I will talk about in a second. But Darko Velcek is all about spirituality and vibrations, unexplainable. That's why if you would present to him what actually happens in the body when you consume toxic salt, all salt is toxic, I'm just trying to point out that's toxic, then he would not respond to it because biochemistry is basically irrelevant to him.
Biochemistry is a bunch of baloney.
Exactly. Really messed up.
It's an electronic robot. We need physics. We don't need chemistry. And the new equipment, hearing equipment that will be released shortly, are all based on adjusting frequency. Either through
If your spine hurts from lying down, that's a very good...
sound, and the most sophisticated is strictly electromagnetic, because these are all electromagnetic frequencies, but they can be transported through the other means like sound and light.
Okay, that's it. I don't even need to comment about it. You get it.
We need way more plasma than we need food. And he was drinking seawater. There's no other option.
This is the last part that I wanted to talk about from this video. It's about plasma. He promotes drinking seawater or water mixed with salt. And he says that it's similar to plasma, even though biochemically, which he doesn't care about, I get it, there's no relation whatsoever, as in zero. I don't mean a little bit. Oh yes, this and that is somewhat similar to plasma. There's no relation whatsoever. But again, he doesn't care about biochemistry, chemistry at all. He only cares about vibrations and frequencies. And to him, because of these religious beliefs, it's somehow similar to plasma. Plasma is made up of animal nutrients, hormones, and there's no relation whatsoever. And the people who listen to him maybe also don't care about biochemistry. I don't know what's up with them. There's very few of them, to be fair, but they also somehow go along with it. There's been people on my videos who comment, oh, but shouldn't we drink seawater, which is similar to plasma? How is it similar? There's no similarities in any way at all, chemically. And they just don't get it. They just religiously listen to him. Oh, the frequency and vibration is similar. Oh, cool. Okay. How can you prove that? Well, I can't, but my religion says so. So that's it. That's what you're dealing with. It's crazy.
And when they asked him, he was in perfect health. No problem. Slim, but perfect health.
I don't know what he's talking about. Skinny? Like yourself? What do you mean?
So, again, understanding body correctly is the key. And how to start the protocol all depends on your state in which you are right now. If you are obese, stop eating and go on fasting.
Oh my god, he also promotes starvation. Wow.
With plasma.
With plasma, but you don't promote drinking plasma. Plasma would be good. Blood itself, of course, would be best. You don't need to
I'm sure the people
separate it. You promote drinking toxic salt water, which causes vomiting and diarrhea.
You drink water with no salt, and you don't eat, so you're not poisoning yourself.
But you literally are. Salt is a toxin.
The body will go very quickly into ketogenic state, which doctors say, oh, this is bad, bad, bad.
Ketosis is fine now and then. A lot of doctors also say that babies are in ketosis.
Well, this is our original state. If you stop poisoning your body, it switches in ketogenic. And then if you eat correctly, it remains in ketogenic state.
Pretty much most of the time, depending on the season, most of the time, in most climates, you would be in ketosis most likely. Can be argued about tropical places.
Like every
No, that is not true.
other animal. They're all in ketogenic state.
Oh yeah, I don't know about all of them. Cows are. Has it been studied? Maybe most of them are. Maybe all of them are, yeah. It's possible. A lot of them do eat a lot of carbs. This hasn't been studied yet. They for sure aren't always. You could at most argue that they are most of the time.
Salt is one of the worst things a cancer patient, anybody can do, next to cooking. Why is that? Because sodium is an explosive. It is more volatile than nitroglycerin. If you take pure sodium...
Yes, elemental sodium is highly reactive. You're not eating elemental sodium.
...and put it into one block about the size of a football, it will take out New York City and all of its buildings. Just one block that size.
No, it's not. This guy's a
Part. Salt will always be toxic for the human.
teaspoon of salt to get husband. Yeah, so that's a lot of salt,
Cells.
especially for an infant.
Ginger is toxic for the human body at any age. It's simply deadly for a baby. Take anything you want, any toxic vegetables, root vegetables specifically, all of these detox juices, it's all the same. But a lot of these people believe that you detox from something that's inside of you when you consume seawater or water.
So, says more than a tablespoon of salt in the article. It says a teaspoon of salt here, so he got his information wrong.
Because you want to get rid of it. There's no food on this earth that makes you detox on the spot. That doesn't exist. Liver is going to help you to detox, but slowly. And you will most likely never even notice anything, because detoxing is a slow process that happens over days, weeks, months. And it feels good, essentially. But when you ingest something and you right away want to throw up or have diarrhea, you feel super horrible, you poison yourself. And everybody who consumes salt water says that they feel this because you poison yourself. That should be clearly understood. There's nothing on this earth that helps you to detox right away. You ingest something and it helps you to detox whatever toxins there are in your cell. That doesn't exist. It's simply in your stomach. You feel nauseous and then you throw up and have diarrhea. Go on. 0.5 to 1 gram of salt per kilogram of body weight is toxic for the human body, meaning that if you have a baby and he or she is 2 to 3 kilograms, then very little salt will be lethal for this baby. Whereas if you have a child and he or she is 30 kilograms, then...
Yeah, by the way, that is a ridiculous amount of salt. You're talking about... So 1 gram of salt per kilogram. So if you weigh... if you weigh like 80 kilograms, that's 80 grams of salt. That's a massive amount of salt.
Baby, and he or she is 2 to 3 kilograms, and risk it to these reports. There was a systematic review of fatalities from ingesting salt to assess if relatively moderate doses of salt could be fatal. In 27 reports, there were 35 fatalities documented, 19 in adults, 16 in children. The lethal dose was estimated to be less than 10 grams of salt.
Yeah, so this is in children. Again, if you account for body weight, this is a ridiculous amount of salt.
Sodium. There's, of course, a difference between salt and sodium. Sodium is a mineral. Salt is this crystallized rock. But I've already explained that in the past. It doesn't really matter in this case. That was in 2 children, less than 25 grams of sodium for adults. The frequency of fatal ingestion of salt is not able to be discerned from our review. The hospital records indicate that salt overdoses are relatively common. Consideration can be given to placing warning labels on salt containers and shakers. I don't think they do that. Such warning labels can have the added advantage of reducing dietary salt consumption, but you see it everywhere in so-called health.
I know in China, consuming salt was a fairly common method of suicide. I don't know why you'd want to commit suicide by ingesting salt. It's really weird. I don't know why they wouldn't just hang themselves or fall on their sword or something normal, but I know that has been used as a suicide method, but you're talking about ridiculously high intakes of salt. Nobody would ever normally consume that. I've seen case reports of people doing, what is it called? Soy sauce enemas, where they literally get a tube and shove an entire bottle of soy sauce up their ass. And they've killed themselves that way. Again, that is not normal at all. So these sorts of things are very unusual. Somebody's doing something strange when this sort of thing happens.
Health food stores, organic stores, along with the green juices. Way too little people are aware of this. Oh, smaller.
Okay.